Pearly Nugget takes out the first leg of the quaddie here. Helen Harding not on course, unfortunately. She's been a little bit unwell, but it's great to see Chris doing so much, her son, and getting the job done for her and the team. And Zephyr Johnson-Porter, man of few words, but he's been riding in very good form, Riley.
He's in very good form at the moment, is Zephyr, and I'm sure that'll give Helen a much-needed lift as well, with Pearly Nugget, who's been racing with great consistency this campaign, able to get another win on the board. Was disappointing last week. She led on that occasion, and clearly today appreciated having something to chase in the run home. But as we've seen, Tess, over the first 4 races, all 4 winners have settled 1 or 2 in running. So it's certainly been an on-pace day thus far here at Kalgoorlie. I would suggest the lanes closest to the fence have certainly been the best, and that's something that we certainly need to consider over these final 3 races.
Absolutely, and considering that, how do we see things then playing out in the Paddy Byrne Handicap? Who do we see as our likely leaders?
Well, it's an interesting one. There isn't a great deal of speed in this next race, and on perhaps the confidence levels have been dented somewhat with a horse like Precast, who I put on top submitting my numbers a little bit earlier today, but he's a horse that is likely to get back in running. She's a horse, I should say, that is likely to get back in running. Hasn't shown a great deal of early speed in her runs for Mack Hall since touching down here in WA, so my numbers will suggest that the 4 Precast is going to be hard to beat, but I will say that perhaps maybe just treading a little bit more warily with how this track has played thus far.
Exactly. So if you are alive in the quaddie, best of luck, because Pearly Nugget would be a very good get. Last week's quaddie paying $11,000 here at Kalgoorlie too. So off to a very good start for quaddie punters for sure. Runners are about to enter the yard now ahead of the Paddy Byrne Handicap over the 1200 metres, the Class 2. So we'll get our preview with the 1. Always starts very short, this galloper. Ruling Dame, Peter Fernie, Tash Faithful.
Had a few excuses last start, Ruling Dame. She was posted wide throughout, but she was still brave in running third over the concluding stages behind I Never Dreamed. She's a horse that always does her best work fresh for mine, Tess. So I do think the fact that she has been freshened up here this afternoon, 28 days, that's something that is going to be in her favour. I like that gap between runs. She's going to get a very soft run today from barrier 1. She's certainly drawn the right part of the track for what we've seen thus far. The visors go on here today. My slight knock being the fact she's a mile back to 1200 metres. That is quite a pretty sharp drop back in distance at this stage of her campaign, but she's always there about the mark. She's just not been one of mine over the course of the journey.
And is the current Tab Touch favourite, opened at $2.65, now out to $2.90. So quite an open market. The 2 last start winner, Ultimate Paradise, Helen Harding and Zephyr Johnson-Porter, hoping for a race-to-race double.
They are, and she's a live chance of doing so, I think, as well, Tess. It was a tough win last start. Was able to lob 1 out, 1 back, and I like the way she was able to grind home and run down a horse like Science Degree over the concluding stages at big odds. She's a horse that has shown tactical speed. She can certainly roll forward, so I anticipate that'll be the plan for Zephyr Johnson-Porter, to try and get her out of the barriers and get her across and into a position. She does rise a couple of kilos at the weights off the back of that win last start, but I wouldn't suggest this is any harder than the race she was able to put away. She looks a live chance, a genuine each way odds, and if Zephyr can get her across and into a spot right over the speed, that's only going to increase her chances.
The 3 is Classic Code, the full sister to Dainty Test. We know what Dainty Test was able to produce here in the west and over east. Paul Tapper trains, Brandon Louis rides.
I don't think she's got the same level of ability as Dainty Test Classic Code. She looks a little bit tested here for mine off her last start effort. She was beaten 4.5 lengths behind Ultimate Paradise there on that occasion, getting off the speed. She's a horse that doesn't have a great deal of early speed, so that wide draw she's got today is going to hurt her chances and makes things pretty tough for Brandon Louis from there.
The 4 is Precast. You're on topper here, Riley. Mack Hall, Keshaw Dhurun.
Thought she closed off really well behind Ultimate Paradise 2 starts ago. She hit the line nicely on that occasion, was only beaten half a length at the finish. She stepped up in class to a 58 plus event last start and was a very good run for mine. She got a long way off the speed, and I love the way she worked home through the line to finish 3 lengths adrift of Secret Attire at the finish. She's back into Class 2 company here, which is going to suit her. Would just love to see her settle a bit closer. She's been getting a long way back in her races this campaign for Mack Hall, so if she can utilise that barrier today and potentially sit a pair or 2 closer in running, for mine she looks ready to win.
The 5 is Blitz and Babe, Peter Fernie, Braden Garth.
Racing below her best this campaign, Blitz and Babe. She's just not showing any early speed, which, given how we've seen this track play to date, is not going to help her here this afternoon from that tricky barrier.
Song Story is the 6th. The blinkers gone for the first time. Winkers are off. Helen Harding, Victoria Corver.
Disappointing last start. Was beaten 4 lengths there behind the Lions Gate. Was beaten 5.5 lengths to start prior to that behind Carn Up Queen. Blinkers go on here today. Has drawn wide and looks a query at the 1400 metres as well.
The 7 is Fiendish, Nev Newton, Natika Riordan.
Going super, this horse. His last 2 runs have been very good. He keeps attacking the line. He's a horse that does get a long way off the speed, which is obviously the query for him here this afternoon. But his last 2 have been very good behind Dublin Red, Ultimate Paradise. You could make a case if he had better luck in running that he would have been in that finish with Ultimate Paradise last start. I just think for a horse that gets a long way off the speed, it looks a tough steer for a 4 kilo claimer. And I think he might be looking for a little bit further at this stage of his campaign and his career as well, that perhaps we might just wait until he gets out over 1400 metres.
The 8 is Loopy's Baby, Peter Fernie, Jefferson Sang.
Was posted wide last start from a wide draw and was well beaten on that occasion behind Ultimate Paradise, so there were certainly some excuses for her on that occasion. She has drawn a lot better here in Barrier 3. She should strip fitter for having that run under the belt, and I think she's an improver with a better run in transit here today, and horses are running for Jefferson Sang at the moment, as we know.
The 9 is Call Time, Peter Fernie, Lucy Fury.
Been the subject of some really good betting support, this horse here today, Tess, this 3-year-old filly. $16 into $6.50, so there's a bit of money around for her. Her last 2 runs haven't been great for mine. She was well beaten here in a Class 2 last start. That was behind On Just Terms. She was beaten 7.5 lengths on that occasion and didn't think she had any real excuses there either. Lucy Fiore jumps back on board here today. Does have a nice draw to deal with, and she has been a horse that can roll forward in her races as well, which is a positive. But off her last couple of runs, I think she'd need to improve to be winning this.
And the 10 is High Precision, just being a little bit reluctant to go out on course. Ava Katerina has just jumped back off a board as we see him try to get out there nicely. Should I say, on camera. Broccoli Thwaite, Ava Katerina.
She wasn't racing well before a mid-prep trial. I thought she was better there at Lark Hill. She trialled over 1,100 metres and looked in good order. Carries no weight on her back after the Ava Katerina claim. She gets in with just the 51 kilos. Thought she might find the 1,200 metres a little bit too slick, despite her only career win being over the 1,000 metres incredibly. But as we've seen last campaign, she's a horse that has been stretched out over the staying journey. She's raced over the mile. She's raced over 1,900 metres. So off her recent runs, I am looking elsewhere.
She didn't want to play the game, but she has now gotten on her way to the gates now, safe and sound, which is great to see. Looking at the market, Ruling Dame is the favourite, however drifting since we opened the preview and since opening at $2.65 is now out to $3.20. Next best on the second line of betting is Ultimate Paradise. Apologies, it's not. I did not have the order right there. Thought that was a bit of a big jump between figures. Precast is the next best on the second line of betting. $2.70 out to $4.40. Call Time, $16 into $5. There's been major support here for team Peter Fernie and Lucy Fiore. Now into $5. Fiendish is the next best, $4.40 out to $7.50. Ultimate Paradise is at $8, the last start winner. And Helen Harding and Zephyr Johnson Porter hoping for a race-to-race double. High Precision is now at the barriers, which is great to see. $34 into $8.50, now $12. We know when Broccoli Thwaite's horses come to Kalgoorlie in recent weeks, they have been able to perform big, especially at a each-way bet. Loopy's Baby is $17. Blitzen Babe, $23. Song Story with the blinkers on for the first time today, $34. And Classic Code, $41. Riley, how are we seeing things play out in the Paddy Byrne Handicap?
4, 7, 2 and 1, my numbers here, Tess. Pretty keen on the 4 Precast to run a big race. Obviously a racing pattern might not help her with how the track has played thus far this afternoon, but I do think if she can utilise that gate and maybe sit a pair or two closer in running, then this is winnable for her off the manner of her last 2 runs. I thought her run here last week was terrific in stronger company than what she meets here today. So At the $4.40, I'll put Precast on top from the 7 Fiendish, another horse who does get back but is going very well and carries no weight on his back, but is going to need a bit of luck in running given he has a 4 kilo claimer in the saddle, and it's always a bit tough for these 4 kilo claimers on horses that settle off the speed so early into their riding careers. The 2 Ultimate Paradise, big chance of making it a race-to-race double for Zephyr Johnson Porter and Helen Harding. He can roll forward and he can hold a position in the first 4, then he's a chance of making it back-to-back wins. I thought the last start win was strong, and the 1 in for 4th in Ruling Dame, who's drawn the right part of the track as well in Barrier 1, but she's been very hard to catch over the course of the journey. 4, 7, 2 and 1 my numbers here, Tess, but 4 Precast on top for me for Mack Hall and Keshaw Dhurun.
4, 7, 2 and 1 in the Paddy Byrne handicap over the 1200 metres here for Riley. 4 on top, Precast, Mack Hall, Keshaw Dhurun. They do combine nicely together out here at the KBRC and hopefully can get on the board early. A couple of our favourites, obviously, as well, with Queen's Sacrifice in the next. They do combine very well together out here. Not too many runners remain entering the gates, so we'll hand you upstairs now to Royce to call us home.
Yeah, thanks, Tess. Runners coming forward well here. This is the Paddy Byrne handicap over the 1200 metres as Classic Code comes forward into one of the outside gates. So Precast to come forward and complete the line. So Precast comes forward, 1200 metres ahead of them. The Paddy Byrne Cup. You need Pearly Nugget to be alive in the quaddie gates. Fly back, they're off racing. Now, Ultimate Paradise begun well, likewise, pushing forward Loopy's Baby, Blitz'em Babe, making a line of 3. They were followed by Ruling Dame, the Fence, Classic Code in that pack as well. And also there is Call Time. A further length and a half then to Fiendish, followed by High Precision, the Fence, Precast second last, and Song Story is at the tail of the field. So that's a field of 10. They leave the 800 metres behind them. And it's Loopy's Baby who shows out a half a length, Blitz'em Babe, Ultimate Paradise covering additional ground. Down on the inside, Ruling Dame run of the race, followed by Classic Code, Call Time midfield. Down on the inside to High Precision with Fiendish and also Precast to the outside in the 3 wide line, and a further 4 there to Song Story. So on the point of the turn, 400 metres to run, and it's Loopy's Baby being joined by Ultimate Paradise. Blitz'em Babe's done plenty of work. Ruling Dame needs a run. Call Time likewise. Getting to the outside, Classic Code. Further back then to Fiendish, and then we had Precast letting loose down the outside. It's Ultimate Paradise who hit the lead with Call Time, and here's Precast. Precast sprouting wings down the outside, hits the lead from Ultimate Paradise, Call Time, and Ruling Dame, but Precast. Precast goes on and wins the 5th. Second in we had Ultimate Paradise, followed next of all by Ruling Dame, then Call Time. Fiendish got warm late, followed in next of all by High Precision, then Loopy's Baby, the pacemaker. They were followed in by Classic Code, and a big break to Blitz'em Babe, and Song Story was last to greet the judge. Number 4, Precast. Geez, he's got a good strike rate coming to Kalgoorlie, Mack Hall. And he gets another win here. Keshaw Dhurun in the saddle. And Precast, well thought of in the market. And of course, dropped in class today. Went from a 58 plus, finished 3 lengths behind Secret Attire, who's a pretty handy race mare. And then today gets placed in a 49 plus. And well weighted with the 57 when comparing it to his opponents today. And she's done a great job, this unencumbered mare, out of a Ballesprit mare in Balfranc. Owned by Miss C. Young, N. Withnell, Mack Hall and R. Hall. Trained by Mack and ridden by Keshaw Dhurun. A peach of a ride too. Launched his run at the right time. They were never going to beat him at the furlong. 4 is your winner. As we just get the minor numbers, number 9 gets second. In fact, no, we're just getting these numbers confirmed. But just having a look at the replay here, you could see Precast down the outside of the track playing fair today. We've seen them come from behind. We've seen them lead. 2 get second, Ultimate Paradise for Helen Harding and Zephyr Johnson Porter by Playing God from Pure Heaven, owned by Pancho Harding. Third in is the 9. That is Call Time for Pete Fernie, Lucy Fiore by Sessions from Exquisite Fashion, owned by B Fiore. And 1 gets 4th. That's Ruling Dame, Pete Fernie, Tash Faithful. 4-2-9-1, a length by 3/4, 112.32 the winning gallop.
Royce, happy International Precast Day, Mack Hall, Keshaw Dhurun. Great result here, Mac. three deep with cover, which we like to see, but the track's been playing a little bit different today. So what were your feelings going into this race?
Yeah, probably slowly losing confidence as the day was playing out. A lot of leaders have been winning, so yeah, for her to sort of defy the track pattern was pretty good win. Yeah.
Great result for you and the team. I know everyone's working very tirelessly behind the scenes. Plenty of trips out here to Kalgoorlie. Pretty cold here today for you as well, but you've got a few runners in, 2 in the next. Who are we splitting between those?
It's pretty hard to split them actually. Queen Sacrifice is in really good form, but obviously Pretty Divine's probably got the class, so I'd probably go Pretty Divine just at the weights she's sort of thrown in, and she's got the barrier, so if she can lead, she'll be there for a long way.
And back on Precast quickly now. Do we look to come back out to Kalgoorlie? Probably a little bit unlucky last start.
She was very stiff last start, in probably a better race, so when Pearly Nugget come out and won the last, it probably stood the form up, and yeah, she's been a bit stiff all prep actually. She first up she ran a really good race with Pikey on, and then second up put up with an issue, and then she was unlucky probably not to win third up, and then fourth up stiff again. So yeah, it was good to get a result with her, and she's a nice horse going forward. And yeah, I just want to give a shout out to all the team back home. They're doing a good job and working really hard, and to the old man as well, driving up the truck 3 weeks in a row is a big effort. So good on him, and he's doing a good job. And Keshaw's riding well too.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you and all the connections. Hopefully chat to you after the next.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tess.
There's Mack Hall, and here's Keshaw Dhurun.
Thanks, Tess. Catching up with Keshaw Dhurun. Kes, first winner down the outside of the track today. That obviously adds a little bit more merit to the performance of Precast today. And once you were able to find that spot 3 deep with a bit of cover, the race unfolded for you quite nicely.
Yeah, last start she was a little bit unlucky. I probably draw one, and Mack really want me to probably. I tried to use my barrier one, and it didn't work. Probably I was 3 backs on the fence, but it was like she have a beautiful run, and probably when I come 500 meter, all those slow horses probably coming back. I shuffled back too, and today I draw wide. I draw 6. I know on this race, probably have lots of speed, and Max said to me, let her jump nice and quiet, and where she's happy, let her happy, and come from the outside, and she will finish strong.
She's run some really good races since touching down here in WA for Mack and his team. Does she give you the feel if she continues to improve that she could really be a horse of the future?
Yeah, I reckon with this winner, she will improve, and she will improve a lot, and have a future, probably city, but probably midweek she should run really well.
Can Queen Sacrifice make it 3 wins here at Kalgoorlie this preparation?
It's a good question, but look, I give him a chance. She's a pretty good horse, and yeah, hopefully I get a nice run, and she will be on the finish. Keeping
the cards close to the chest there, Kesh. I like it. Best of luck.
No, she's a good girl. Thanks to Mack Hall, and he supported me a lot, and yeah, he's a good mate.
Well done, the win.
Thank you.
There's Keshaw Dhurun combining with Mack Hall. Plenty of suspense now going into the next race, the penultimate event, where Keshaw rides Queen Sacrifice with Mack Hall, but he also saddles up Pretty Divine, so hoping for connections in the team for a race-to-race double. Numbers here 4, 2, 9 and 1 in the Paddy Byrne Handicap over the 1200 metres.